The air was crisp, cool. A gentle breeze rustled through the cornfields. The setting sun cast long shadows across the rural landscape. I loved visiting my grandfather's farm. It was peaceful, serene, a world away from the city's noise and chaos. My grandfather, a weathered man with kind eyes, always welcomed me with open arms. He'd spend hours telling me stories of his youth, of simpler times, of the farm's history. This summer was different. A strange unease hung in the air, a tension that even the warm summer sun couldn't cut through. The first sign was the whispers. Faint, indistinct murmurs carried on the wind. They seemed to emanate from the cornfields. Whenever I ventured near the edge, I'd hear them, soft and chilling, sending shivers down my spine. I told my grandfather about the whispers, but he dismissed them as my imagination running wild. "It's just the wind, boy," he'd say, his voice gruff but reassuring. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The wind didn't whisper names, didn't carry snippets of conversations, didn't sound like mournful cries. The whispers were growing stronger, more insistent, as if trying to warn me of an impending danger. One particularly hot afternoon, curiosity got the better of me. I decided to venture into the cornfield, drawn by an unseen force. The stalks towered over me, their leaves rustling like dry whispers against my skin. The air grew heavy, thick with a strange energy. I felt a presence, unseen but palpable, watching my every move. Panic welled up inside me. I wanted to turn back, to run towards the safety of the farmhouse, but my feet felt rooted to the spot, as if held captive by the cornfield's embrace. The whispers intensified, swirling around me, taunting me, their voices filled with a cold, ethereal dread. The sun began its descent, casting long, eerie shadows across the field. The cornstalks, once familiar and comforting, now took on a sinister appearance. They seemed to reach out towards me, their leaves like skeletal fingers trying to grasp at my clothes, my skin. I stumbled through the rows, my heart pounding in my chest. The whispers followed me, their voices growing louder, more menacing. They spoke of despair, of sorrow, of a darkness that consumed all who dared enter the cornfield's heart. I broke into a run, desperate to escape the nightmare that had ensnared me. Section 5. The Ghostly Apparition. As I ran, I saw her, a figure ethereal and pale, drifting amongst the cornstalks. She was a young woman, dressed in a flowing white gown, her long black hair cascading down her back. Her face was obscured by the shadows, but I could feel her eyes upon me, filled with an unspeakable sadness. I stopped dead in my tracks, fear paralyzing me. The whispers ceased, replaced by an unnerving silence. The woman in white glided towards me, her movements fluid as if she were floating on air. I wanted to scream, to run, but my voice caught in my throat, my legs refused to obey. Section 6. Vanishing Act. As she drew closer, I could make out the details of her face. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, her eyes hollow and filled with a profound sorrow. She reached out a hand towards me, her touch icy cold against my skin, and then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, she vanished. The whispers returned, swirling around me, mocking my terror. I stumbled back, my heart racing. I had to escape the cornfield, to get back to the farmhouse. I turned and ran, my mind reeling from what I had witnessed. The ghostly apparition, the chilling whispers, the palpable sense of dread. It was all too real, too terrifying to comprehend. Section 7. The Truth Revealed. I burst through the cornfield's edge, gasping for breath, my clothes torn, my skin scratched. My grandfather rushed towards me, his eyes filled with concern. I tried to tell him what I had seen, but the words caught in my throat, jumbled and incoherent. He led me back to the farmhouse, where I sat by the fire, wrapped in a blanket, as he made me a cup of strong, sweet tea. As I sipped the tea, he told me the story of the haunted cornfield. Legend had it that a young woman, heartbroken over the loss of her lover, had drowned herself in the creek that ran through the property. Her spirit, unable to find peace, remained trapped in the cornfield, her mournful cries carried on the wind as whispers. Section 8. Trapped in Terror. The ghostly apparition I had seen was said to be her, searching for her lost love, her touch a harbinger of misfortune. I listened to my grandfather's tale, chills running down my spine. The legend was no longer a mere story, a campfire tale to frighten children. It was real. And I had seen her, the woman in white, her touch sending shivers down my spine. As I looked down at my hand, I noticed something strange. A single kernel of corn, lodged in the palm of my hand, was glowing faintly, emitting an eerie, otherworldly light. The glow intensified, spreading up my arm, enveloping me in its warmth. I felt myself being pulled back towards the cornfield, drawn by an unseen force. Section 9. Conclusion. A harvest of fear. The whispers surrounded me, their voices no longer mournful but filled with a triumphant glee. I was theirs now, another soul claimed by the haunted cornfield. As the light consumed me, I realized the truth. The woman in white wasn't searching for her lost love. She was gathering souls, building an army of the heartbroken and the despairing. And I was her latest recruit. The cornfield, once a symbol of life and abundance, was now a harvest of fear, and I was its latest victim.